A storm is on the horizon and it can affect many resellers, including myself, and it's coming very soon. So I want to get to that on the other side. So without any further ado, let's go. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flippin' Ain't Easy, and today I'm making this video on the 5th of July, and I sort of waited to make this video. I was going to make it maybe even a week ago, but I wanted to kind of wait and see what was happening with some key deadlines. And now that we've passed the 5th of, we're at the 5th of July, I'm making this video because it's actually seeming like it's more of a possibility than ever. And what am I talking about? And that is a looming, impending UPS strike. And that can definitely affect many resellers. Now, this strike is planned for the 1st of August, and they have a deadline to reach an agreement between the Teamsters and UPS. That's July 31st by 11:59 p.m. And we're talking 350,000 employees. Okay, we're talking they deal with about, give or take, 37 million packages a day. Now you compare that with the other major carrier for large items, and that would be Fedex at 22 million approximately per day. And you can see that this is quite a bit of packages that may not have a way to go in that you know, you might have your other carriers. You've got, of course, FedEx, you have DHL, and of course you have USPS. But when you're dealing with stuff that's over 2 pounds, it starts to get expensive with them. And you know, like carriers like FedEx, they're not going to be able to absorb that 36 million packages into what they're already doing. So what is this all about? Well, UPS uses or utilizes union employees through the Teamsters Union, okay? And so they've been working on a contract over the last year, and the workers, the drivers in these trucks, they want air conditioner in these trucks. Now, if you've ever watched your carrier come through, you know that they have the door they leave open usually because it's hot in there. It's like it's just hot. And especially out here in Vegas, I couldn't imagine driving for UPS without air conditioning units. And so they're asking for that. They're actually demanding that because it does become sort of a safety hazard because it's just so hot in those trucks. Could be 90 degrees outside, could be 110 degrees in the truck. The workers are asking to not be forced on overtime on scheduled off days. They want MLK, Martin Luther King, as a holiday. They're dealing with a two-tiered wage system between drivers, and usually a lot of that is a tier between part-timers and full-timers. I've seen that before. There's in the world where there's a union, like the company I came from, there is usually a rift between full-time and part-time employees in that there's separate rules in place for part-time employees versus full-time employees. So the workers are looking to get rid of that and have just one set of rules for all employees. So there's been negotiations this whole time, almost this entire year, going on to the end of July would be a year, and nothing has really materialized as through those negotiations. And both sides are sort of ramping up their rhetoric, and I believe on Friday the Teamsters chairman or president came out and said that they weren't going to back down, that they have certain requirements in place. UPS needs to pay their employees appropriately and make these work changes. Otherwise, they're going to go on strike. So today, the 5th of July, is the deadline that the Teamsters had given themselves to have an agreement in place. And they met today with UPS, and apparently UPS's proposal was just an insulting proposal, and they basically just left the bargaining table. So we're back at square one with really no concessions in place. But I would say that from what I understand, last week they did tentatively agree on the air conditioning issue and the two-tiered wage issue between full-timers and part-timers. But they have to agree to the entire package before it becomes something that's in place. Now, the 5th of July is important because for the union, they have to be able to get this out for vote amongst their members. They can't just say, okay, we have an agreement, this is what's going to happen. They actually have to get it ratified by the union membership. And so that does take time. So once an agreement's in place, it has to be put in writing, has to be sent out to the members in a timely manner. Members vote, they have to send that back to ratify the agreement. And every day that passes between now and the 1st of August is going to make it that much more difficult for that process to happen. It isn't like, 11:59 p.m., July 31st, they come to an agreement, okay, we've, got no strike. It has to be agreed upon with the membership. And without an agreement, these drivers, these 350,000 UPS employees are going to be off the job. Now, what does that mean for you and I? Well, if we're dealing with 36 million packages that are no longer being handled by UPS, then now you're going to be going to other carriers to try to get your packages shipped out. That means you're either going to be paying more to ship those larger packages through USPS, right? And if you're paying more and your buyer is not paying you anymore, that's coming out of your pocket. You could go to FedEx, but my sources at FedEx tell me that they are going to be able to only absorb so much. They're not going to be able to absorb that 36 million, especially when they're doing 22 million. They don't have the infrastructure in place to absorb all that. And they're going to be focusing on their existing customer base before they take on new customers. So someone like me who has an established account, they're basically going to allow me the daily average packages that I currently send out, and plus another 20 to 25% of my daily average. And then over that, I'm just not going to be able to ship that particular day. If you do not have an established account, you may be only limited to 2 to 3 packages a day if you're just starting up a new account. Now, as far as eBay, we're doing eBay labels. They have an established account. So if, let's say they do 10 million packages a day through FedEx, which I don't think that's a valid number. I'm just throwing that number out to you. Let's just say eBay handles 10 million labels a day through their system. Well, they're only going to be allowed, according to this process that's going to be put in place, maybe another 25% of that. So that's what, 12.5 million packages, if that's the number we're talking about. So, and I don't know if there's going to be any exceptions made for eBay labels. There may not be any exceptions. So you may be one day after the 1st of August trying to run multiple labels for FedEx. And it may tell you that, sorry, we can't run your label because that account has maxed its number for that particular day. And not just from you, from every eBay label user, because it's just one account that eBay has with FedEx. So I don't know what eBay is going to do. I'm sure eBay is going to respond to this like the day beforehand, before it happens. If they have a contingency plan. It may be the week after it happens before they come out with something in writing to tell us what's going on here. But I just wanted to kind of get in front of this because I've seen labor disputes happen as being part of a union and also working in management, and having the union sort of as your adversary in negotiating for labor contracts and stuff like that. And there's a lot of rhetoric. It's sort of like a boxing match, how both sides get kind of, get really lippy and loud and, just a lot of nonsense. But at the end of the day, these unions, they have an employee base that they have to work for, like these Teamsters. They are going to deliver the best terms that they can. Of course, it's a negotiation, but UPS also has a bottom line, and they've made their profits, and the Teamsters simply want a fair cut of what they feel like they deserve. So I'm not on either side. I'm just reporting to you what the many things that I've heard and read. I've followed some folks here on on LinkedIn. There's a gentleman that I follow on LinkedIn, and his name is Dean Masiuba, That's Maciuba, a former FedEx executive. And he's had a few things to say about this, which is kind of where we're coming from here. And my thoughts is that you may see something happen between both sides here in the next couple weeks, maybe week to 2 weeks. But every day that passes, the more likely there is a strike. I'd say at this point it's about a 50-50 chance. If within about a week from now, week and a half from now, we have no agreement, it's going to kind of go up to more like a 75% chance that it's going to happen. And guys, it's something I've been looking at for over like the last month, the possibility of this happening, keeping my eyes on it. But I haven't really mentioned it to anyone because a lot of times these things just go by the wayside. Agreements are made and it's a nothing burger. But this is more than a nothing burger. This is a serious thing. And while it may seem like to you, well, that's their problem, it's not mine, it certainly is going to become your problem if you rely on these carriers to ship out the larger packages. And for instance, even if you're not, you just think of the load that USPS is going to have on its shoulders. Think of the additional load that FedEx, heck, even companies like DHL are going to be dealing with, which could mean delays in our packages arriving because the infrastructure just cannot support the additional packages that are being taken on. So this is something that could affect, or actually will affect, most resellers out there in some way, whether you're running labels or you're just maybe sending out packages by first class mail. It can and will affect each and every seller in some way, shape, or form. And this is going to be a bigger topic of discussion as we get closer to the 1st of August. And I'm just getting out in front of it right now because I just want to create awareness that this is a possible thing. And I don't want, at least the viewers of this channel, to be sort of left in the dark, and would do no service to any of you for me to keep it to myself. I want to know what your thoughts are on this subject. Again, I'd say about a 50-50 chance, just based on my opinion, what I've been reading, my past experiences with union negotiated contracts. But again, we're running out of time, and the deadline, the soft deadline, was today. Both sides met, and the Teamsters, I believe the Teamsters were the one that walked because of the proposal was just not one that was acceptable. And when that happens, it's never a good sign, guys. When they agree to a few terms and then they decide to come back the next day, iron out the other kinks, that's a good sign. But when the proposal is just one that is not acceptable in any way, shape, or form to either side, and one side walks, that's harder to recover from. I've seen it happen, and it does definitely delay any type of agreement. So I'll give you some updates as we get closer. Hopefully this thing resolves itself. But again, I just want you, the average person that sells on eBay, that relies on these services, to know that there is a storm brewing, and it definitely will affect many, many resellers out there, including myself. So if you appreciate the time that I've taken to make the video, if you enjoy the video, hit the like button, guys. Consider subscribing to the channel. The purpose of this channel is to get out information to you guys, whether it's how to use eBay, whether it's stuff that you have to deal with as a reseller. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm making these videos for, and hopefully you see that as a value and you choose to subscribe to the channel. We just hit 20K last week, and we're shooting for the stars, maybe 50K. Who knows when, but that's my next goal. So I need your help in doing that. Now, hit that notification bell if you are subscribed and you want to be notified of when we come out with videos like this, or when we go live, which is usually on Mondays and Fridays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. Things that are out of your control. There's nothing you can do but just be informed. And this video is not meant to worry anyone. This video isn't meant to really have you change anything that you're doing. It's just meant to just make you aware that there is a storm brewing. Is it going to rain? I don't know. But clouds are coming, and you just need to be mindful. And you know what? This video is not necessarily going to cover all the facts, just the facts that I have. So if you happen to, know more information, maybe you're more involved on either side of this disagreement, well, please provide that information down below. But I'm only giving you the information that I have. So, if you're going to go on here and comment that I don't know what I'm talking about because I forgot this fact, or maybe I misstated that fact, well, you know what? Hey, at least I got the basic information out, just so people now are looking at this and keeping their eye on it, which I think awareness is probably the number one thing that we can do as resellers, at least. And maybe once it's more inevitable, once we get closer to the 1st of August, maybe making plans, a contingency plan as to what you're going to do for your particular business. But these type of decisions is just yet another example of how flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have an excellent rest of your day, and we will talk to you very soon.